Oh my goodness. Hey guys, hey girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome back to the Queen Mentality Podcast. Listen, escuche girls. This is going to be a very intimate episode, okay? Today's episode is about backpedaling in Islam. So, backpedaling is really a term that I've only heard Christians use. And backpedaling means like you're really strong in your faith, or, you're a person of faith, and then you kind of go back. You go steps backwards in your faith. So let's say you're praying all your 5 prayers, you're wearing hijab, and let's say maybe you stop praying your prayers, or maybe you take off your hijab, or whatever it may be, wherever you're at in your levels of Iman. It's just backpedaling, basically. You've progressed as far as you've progressed in your faith, and then you kind of go backwards, which, like, if you know better, do better. You've heard that. So it's like you know better, but you go back anyway. And I haven't even shared my personal story, but two of my previous podcasts come to mind when talking about this. One is the message to Brittany Renner that me and my friend Janelle did. I can relate to Brittany. I know what it's like to be a new revert and not really have anybody. And I think that can really cause people to backpedal. Reverts, especially, even born Muslims who maybe don't have the best influences around them. And also a podcast episode that I did with my friend Gianna, talking about us converting to Islam from Christianity and just both of our experiences. But, I want to be able to be vulnerable on my channel, on my podcast. Like, I want this to be a safe space for the girls and for myself. And I think that me getting more vulnerable can maybe help some people see me in a better light, or like understand me more in the way I am. And it's hard for me because I definitely like kind of use humor and like laughing when things get uncomfortable or too deep. Without exposing myself too much, I do want to talk about my story and my experience with backpedaling in Islam. I reverted to Islam not knowing anything about it, like literally. And I said a little bit about this. That's why I mentioned like the other podcast with me and Gianna. It's called like Reverting to Islam. I forget what number it was, but I do talk about my revert story. Like, it's literally just I read the Quran and I recognized it as the truth. And I took my Shahada by myself. Like, literally, I was just like, yeah, this makes sense. All right, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Like, it was nothing. Like, literally, like, subhanAllah. Like, I didn't know anything about Islam. I didn't know how Muslims prayed, like anything. Like, I literally knew nothing, and just like, which, looking back is really beautiful. But at the same time, looking at like my friend's story, like she knew people who were Muslim. She was around them for years. She knew the way they prayed. She would pray with them. Like, I didn't have anyone in my life who was Muslim. I literally knew 0 Muslim people. Never had met one in my entire life, like, that I knew of. Except for like my mom's friends. But yeah, subhanallah. So, I got married really fast, as a lot of revert women do. They just want to sweep us up like that. So yeah, I got married immediately, which was, looking back, not a good decision. Like, no offense, but like, not a good decision. I should have definitely taken time to get to know Islam for myself, practice by myself. And I just feel that I was not maybe given the best impression of Islam from the people around me. And Islam is perfect. People aren't. Like, I did have like moments like my, it's hard to explain. My husband has like a pretty big family, like a lot of people that are like family friends and stuff like that. Which also like, okay, I'm gonna go into like all the lore of like me figuring out Islam. But basically like in Islam, like you're not supposed to be around like non-mahrams a lot. And I noticed like I didn't really observe that behavior like when I first like started being around everybody like as a new Muslim. Um it wasn't really until like 2024, the beginning of 2024, that's when I started to really like practice Islam for myself and actually do extensive research and like completely just delve myself into Islam and fell in love with it truly for myself without a man being there. Chose hijab for myself without a man telling me to wear it. Um, because that's another thing. Like, oh my god, it's just there's so much that goes into it. Okay. But yeah, basically like I wasn't really around a bunch of like the most practicing Muslims. Some of them were, but like some of them weren't. Like, yeah, I don't know. But basically, it was just like a lot of Muslim people. Like my husband, his whole like people who he associates with, all of them are Muslim. And it was hard as like a girl who was dressed how every other American girl dresses, acted how every other American girl acts. Like I grew up like that. You don't just become a perfect practicing Muslim overnight. And I think I felt like really judged sometimes. I have a complete different view of modesty now. But basically, like, I just remember this one time, and this is like no hate to anybody, but I remember I was pregnant at the time too. Because, okay, this is a whole other lore, but right after I got married, I got pregnant. Um, like, literally, I think like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after. Like, we didn't even get, we didn't even get any time to, like, you know, be a married couple. Like, it was immediate pregnancy. And that happened both times, and that's there's so much lore to unpack, and it's really hard for me to even like I don't even know what timeline to go on. But yeah, so first time we got married because we've been married. So, okay, anyway, um, immediately got pregnant. Whatever. So I was pregnant, and it was super super hot. And I remember wearing like I had this dress and it was like a long sleeve dress and it was loose, but I think it went to like right underneath my knees. So like my calves were showing. And I remember people looking at me as if I had just shown up with cootie cutters and a string bikini top. Like not that bad, but like people didn't even get up to greet me or say hi or anything. Like I just remember like walking down to the beach, walking away from everybody and like talking to my friend on the phone about it. Like, it was not just that, but it was like a conglomerate of experiences like that where I just constantly felt like everything I was doing was like being rejected or not good enough. I used to practice astrology. I used to be into those types of practices. And I keep saying every episode, I'm like, I'm going to do an episode about witchcraft, but it's just, it hasn't happened yet. Like, I have to really be in that like mindset to be ready. I wrote some notes on that episode. Um, but yeah, I used to be very much into that type of stuff before I was Muslim. I had a very successful business doing like selling candles, selling crystals, which I don't believe crystals are haram. I don't, but I was selling them for like the metaphysical like healing properties, which was like my biggest passion. That was literally like my dream. This makes me want to cry. That was like my dream since I was little to have like a business like that. And last year during Ramadan, I dissolved the LLC. I had a successful like social media page too. I was like selling things on TikTok Shop. Um and yeah, it was like I could have taken off with that, but for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that business was started with like, you know, witchy intentions, I dissolved that LLC. And on the surface, like it's so innocent, like, and it's literally just like a childhood dream. And I hope that Allah, replaces that. And He already has replaced that. Like I have a new business I have two babies, so it's hard for me to even like focus on my business. I started my first business before I got pregnant and married, but yeah, it's really sad, and it's really hard to give up parts of yourself and everything that you once knew to become Muslim. And for me, it's so drastic. Like I wasn't just like a normal girl. Like far from it, babe. Far from it. You've never met someone like me. Okay, this sounds so like full of myself, but like if y'all even knew the type of movie that my life has been, and then converting to Islam is crazy. Like it's crazy. Not only that, but just completely going against everything that I was to become Muslim. And I feel like I never got enough credit for that. I don't think people who are born Muslim or people who have never struggled with anything like any demons, like I don't think they could ever relate to that. Because it's really like a spiritual battle that a lot of people are not strong enough to go through. And yeah, I think it's a lot, and I'm proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself for becoming a Muslim and for coming back to Islam after. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the backpedaling, um, and kind of what led to it. So I don't know how much I can say, and like I will. I know I've gotten like the visions of it so many times. I know that sounds crazy, but like I know that someday I'm gonna be like completely open with like things that I want to talk about. Now's not the time, but let's say like I went through a lot of hardships. I dealt with really bad postpartum depression, and also when I became Muslim, like I didn't change any of my friends really. So like my community, instead of like having like Muslim friends or anything, like I kept the same friends that I always had. So people who knew the old version of me and kind of wanted me to be the old version of me because that's the way that I served them in their lives. Me being sober, me being modest, me praying and wanting to be in halal environments, that doesn't serve my place in their life anymore. There's not really a transition. Like those friends that are haram, they're always going to want you to go back to haram because that's the you that they know. That's the you that can pose up in the pictures with them. That's the you that can go to the studio with them. That's the you that can go out on two mans. Astaghfirullah. You know what I mean? Like that type of behavior. Those are the friends that want you to go to the club with them, drink with them, smoke with them, whatever. Are they really going to try? Because some friends, they really will be with you through all phases of life. And that's a true friend. And I have friends like that, but they're more like family, you know? There are people who will go through all the phases in your life together and who will, you know, be able to transmute that energy to meet you in the middle. Like let's say you don't drink anymore because you're Muslim and you used to drink with a friend. Let's say they go out and they don't have a drink when they're with you. They respect your religion. They say, "Oh, we used to go out to the club, maybe let's go to brunch." Like it doesn't mean that you have to like completely cut people off, but it is detrimental to have people around you who are not practicing Islam or people who don't respect your religion. But yeah, anyway, I had all my old friends. Like I did not have any Muslim friends. There was like a couple people who I felt like, were friends, were cool, but no one who I really got close with who was Muslim. So I just had all my old friends because I'm like, women, we need sisterhood. Like we need friendship. Also, like I just had a baby. Like I needed like my friends around me and like my, support. I went through bad postpartum depression. There was just a lot of factors that went into it that I don't know if I'm going to talk about right now in this moment. But basically, my husband and I split up. We divorced when my daughter was 7 months, 8 months. And it was almost as if, like, when someone tells you not to do something and it makes you want to do it more. I feel like it was a bit of that. Like, it was a bit of like, oh, I'm being controlled, and like now I'm forced to wear hijab. Like, I was so excited to put hijab on at first, and then it felt like, oh, I'm being forced to do this. Like, this isn't cute anymore. Like, this isn't like, oh yeah, I'm doing this for Allah. Like, I love this. Like, it's like, if you take your hijab off, da da da. Like, like that type beat, type beat. And it's like, what the hell? Like, I'm not a human being if I like don't have this on. And it's so strange. It's such a strange paradox of like, some women are forced to wear the hijab and some women are like forced not to, basically. Like, some people treat me like I'm not a human because I literally just wear hijab. And then some people will treat me as if I'm not human because I don't wear hijab. Like, it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So yeah, I guess I was damned if I didn't in that moment. Um, so yeah, and it just felt like I was like finding myself. And it was also like, I feel like some postpartum type stuff. Like, it was my first baby, and I felt like I was like losing a lot of my identity, and I didn't know like what was going on. Like, there was just this huge transition in my life, and it was just strange. Like, it was just a weird moment, and I felt like I was trying to find myself again, because the only myself I knew was like me without hijab, like me going out, like me dancing, me being free, me feeling beautiful. And that's the only way I knew how to feel beautiful, you know? Um so yeah, I ended up doing that. And then it went on for, I think, like 5 months, me like going back to who I was before, like trying to refine myself. And then it was like Allah really had to wake me up. Like, I had a near death experience. I wouldn't say near death experience, but like, I had like something really scary happen to me. And I was just like, subhanAllah, like it took that for me to wake up. I had to really just like be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I think I was just so depressed, and like I was just in such a bad place. Like, such a bad place. And it was so sad. Like, that was honestly like the most depressing time of my life. It really was. And I remember like going out for the last time, like astaghfirullah. And I had really beautiful friendships. Like, I did like make really beautiful friends like during that time. Like, I met my girl Caitlin, she's iconic. Tiffany. I had like a little friend group that I hung out with, and like it really was beautiful, like for what it was, until it wasn't. And it didn't have anything to do with like my friends. Like, it just had to do with me, myself, and like the demons that I was battling. And they were some big scary demons. And I was just like, I'm a mom. Like, I even like going out, like looking back on that makes me feel so like terrible about myself. And like, I feel like normalized, and like, yeah, you need like time away from your kids, but like looking back at that time of my life makes me so depressed. It's like, what were you doing? Like, what, that's not more important than like being at home with your kid. Like, and yes, you do need to go out. You do need to go out as a mom, but like, not to go do bullshit. Astaghfirullah. My priorities were just whack at that moment. And I was just going back to old things. Like, I was going back to like trying to figure out, like, oh, it's Christianity for me. Like, what am I doing? Like, should I go back to reading tarot? Because that's like how I made money before I was Muslim. So I was like, I have a daughter. I have to figure this out. And like, the only ways that I knew how to make money were haram. And it was really confusing. And it's so hard when you're in that transitional phase and you don't know what to do. Like, your whole life, everything you know is something that's not permissible anymore. And it's like, what's going on? Especially after you have a kid. because you're like, who am I? Oh, hey y'all, I'm back. I stopped recording last night. Honestly, I don't even know where I was at in the story. I considered like redoing this, but I already filmed for like 20 minutes and I'm not doing that again. I don't know what I was saying. Basically, it was like a really depressing time in my life when I kind of like turned away from Islam, and it has nothing to do with Islam itself. It kind of just had to do with like I didn't feel like I fit in and I didn't feel like I was accepted. And the only place that I felt accepted was with people who were like living a Western lifestyle. I didn't feel like I was accepted by the Muslims, but I felt like I was accepted and wanted around by the non Muslims. And I feel like acceptance and love and friendship was something I really needed during that time, like going through postpartum depression and just like, being alone with a baby. Because when I had my daughter, my first child, my husband works over the road. So he was literally gone, like gone. Like I was literally a single mother, basically. Obviously, he was like paying the bills and stuff like that. But like, I was just alone with my child and I had never even changed a diaper until I had a kid, y'all. Like, I got pregnant out of nowhere. So it was like all new for me. Like I was literally just like a brand new mom, had no idea what I was doing it all alone. I had like my parents' help. Like my parents are like a huge support for me. But like Monday through Friday, it was just me, myself, and I, and the baby. It was like very lonely and like very depressing. I had no Muslim friends at the time. Isn't that crazy? Like I felt like I had no support. My sister-in-law did end up like moving back here, and then she actually married like my husband's best friend, and like me and her got kind of close, so like I felt like I had her for a while. And then like when my husband and I divorced, it was just like a whole bunch of stuff. Like it was really just a toxic situation, just not good situation. I don't want to put anybody's business out there because it's neither of our faults, honestly. Like I mean, it's both of our faults, like truly. We just shouldn't have probably been together. Like I'll say that and I'll be honest. And we both know that. That's not like crazy information. I just honestly like that's huge advice to like any girls who revert. Don't immediately run into marriage because you probably aren't gonna find someone that you truly want until you are able to be someone like who's a good Muslim, who's a practicing Muslim. Because I like literally, I didn't even know how to pray. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any of like the hawk, like I didn't know any rules. And it wasn't until I was like me and my husband got a divorce until I really started to delve into Islam. Going back to my old ways after becoming Muslim, like I wasn't even really like a super practicing Muslim. I was wearing hijab and doing all these things, but it's like I had already explained to you guys that I literally like had no idea about Islam at all. Like at all. So yeah, I didn't really know where to start, and I feel like not having community, not knowing where to go or having any guidance, not having people around me who are praying or teaching me how to pray, not having people who are teaching me Islam with love. It was more like teaching me Islam with control. Yeah, I just that's not even my personality. Like I don't even take to that well. I don't like feeling like I'm being controlled. Like I respect Allah. I don't respect any human without them being deserving of respect. Shocker. Um, no, I like I respect people, but I'm a bit of a wild spirit. Like I don't like when people tell me what to do, clearly. And I don't know what that is. Okay, maybe it's like an ego thing. And then whenever people are in the position to tell me what to do, they always abuse their authority. So I feel like I just have issues with authority. Like I don't like it. I don't like when people try to play Allah or how people act like their emotions and feelings override what Allah told us in the Quran. So I feel like I was being taught, in proximity, not really a real actual version of Islam. I was kind of just observing like a toxic version of Islam that wasn't like full of truth and love and light and spirituality like true Islam is, the Islam that Allah gave us. And yeah, anyway, I feel like a lot of those traumas with like my introduction to Islam, caused me to walk away from it, because I was like, all this feels like is like control. And when you're already like low on iman, like I feel like it's easier for the nafs to get to you. And I didn't even know what nafs were like at this time, wallahi. Like I didn't even know anything about Islam. So like I would have these doubts, and I was also into like a lot of spirituality. I wouldn't say like new age. It was definitely like similar to new age beliefs with, just I knew a lot about astrology. I knew a lot about cartomancy, that kind of stuff. That was my job previously, was, reading cards and using my like whatever to help people. And like it was really hard for me to transition into, and I'll talk about this more in the witchcraft video, inshallah. I know I literally have talked about that video like 50 times and I haven't filmed it yet, but inshallah I'll cover that more. But basically it's hard to kind of like let go of all these beliefs. Like I was talking about with my business before, I would do cartomancy too. And all that kind of stuff. And it's hard to kind of demonize something that was always in your mind as like, this is helping people. I don't know, it's really strange. Like I felt like genuinely like you're helping people get clarity on their life, or like giving them answers that maybe they can't see themselves. But I've since given all that up. Like I gave up everything that is, witchy and all that. And some people might think crystals and, smudging and all that stuff is witchy. Get a grip. And you know what? I have so much to get into with the witchcraft video. And you know what? I might need to film that after this. But we're gonna stay on track. Okay. Ooh, I want to talk about like the moment that I started to backpedal publicly, and how nobody said anything to me. Like nobody was like, "Hey girl, like are you okay? Like, hey girl, do you want to get lunch? Like, do you want to talk about it? Hey girl, I saw you did this. Like, what's up?" Like literally nobody was trying to help me. So I was just like, okay, I have no Muslims checking for me. I have nobody who cares about me who's like Muslim. None of my family is Muslim. Like, literally, okay, like I'm just gonna go be who everybody else wants me to be and who I think I need to be, because clearly this whole Muslim thing isn't working out, because all it did was make me cry every day, make me depressed. And it wasn't Islam that was doing that. It was the situation I was in that was that was making me like that. And I truly didn't know like what Islam felt like, because I didn't put in the time to truly learn how to practice. And I understand that's hard and that can be really daunting. And I really feel like that's the reason why people who are interested in Islam, I really feel like that's the reason why they don't convert to Islam, because it does. At least for me, it took me like 2-3 years to be able to like learn multiple surahs, like be able to pray with perfect tajweed. And you don't even know what that means if you're not Muslim. But like it takes time. Like it actually takes dedication to learn a lot of the stuff. And you don't have to know this to be Muslim. Like I didn't know anything and I became Muslim. And I was Muslim for like a year without knowing anything. More than a year. Like almost 2 years I was Muslim and I like barely knew anything, like any Islamic knowledge. But Allah has everybody's journey set up for a different reason. So like, it does take time, but don't let it freak you out. Like you will get there, inshallah. You will get there, inshallah. It's just how bad you want it and how much time and energy you're willing to put into your journey. But anyway, yeah, when I started backpedaling, it was just like it was such a toxic situation, and like I don't know how much I can really talk about, because I don't want to put like other people's business out there, but I'm just speaking on my personal story so I can help other women. I know the truth now, alhamdulillah. I don't want to talk too much about like actually backpedaling, but just know I backpedaled. Okay, just know I was on the bike and I went boop 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 boop,
and we ended up in the bushes.
Anyway, so we're gonna talk about when I hop back on the bike. Slowly but surely, like I was just doing the best that I could. I felt so like broken. And I just remember like just driving to the masjid. I lived really far from the masjid at that time. Like I would have to drive like almost an hour to go to the nearest masjid. But I remember just going to the masjid and just like crying. So when I started like getting back into Islam, I remember this workbook. Oh my goodness. This workbook, subhanAllah, I was on the plane to Florida and I was writing in this workbook. And it was like a Islamic book, but it also had like a section where you're like, you made a contract to Allah and you're like, I'm going to give up these sins and like, I'm going to do this and like, this is my goal. And it was, subhanAllah, like that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. And I just remember like delving into books, like reading so many books, so many Islamic books. The Ideal Muslima I read. All the ones that I read are at my parents' house. Oh, I read one about backbiting. That's like one of my favorite Islamic books, subhanAllah. Like that really, really made an impact on me. I got a bunch of books of du'as. I got like flashcards of Allah's name. And like I just really was like my entire life I dedicated it to seeking Islamic knowledge. I would go to lectures, and I had no. Keep in mind, I still had no Muslim friends. Okay, I still had nobody. So I was pulling up to these lectures, and everybody had their friend groups, and I was just by myself. I was just by myself. But I still would go. I would go for the sake of Allah. And, you know, I had beautiful moments with sisters. Alhamdulillah. I didn't meet any like real like friends. I don't think it was my time to make friends yet until I remember when I retook my Shahada. That's when I started to like really like be social and stuff like that. I met like my friend Nija, Gianna, Sada, the people you've seen on here, you know. Um, Janelle, I've known her for a minute, but like I feel like started to talk more like this, like in 2024. 2024 is when I like got back really strong on my Islam. I left all my sins, like everything. I didn't only put the hijab on, I put the niqab on. Like I put the niqab on. When I was in Florida, I had the khimar on the whole time. Like it wasn't just hijab, it was like full hijab, like not like half hijab. Like it was hijab. Like I was like fully being modest. And I chose that for myself. And that was something that I feel like was really big for me because having someone tell you like you have to do this or else, I feel like that really like wounded my relationship with the hijab. And being able to choose it for myself was so beautiful that Allah let me experience that and that Allah chose me to be modest, chose me to put the hijab on. That's when I, you know, chose to wear the hijab for myself. And yeah, like I said, I was going to all these lectures and I remember this one moment. And this was when I was like first starting to apply myself to learn about Islam. I had just started like learning the surahs, right? So I was on like the what is it, 30th juz amma, I don't know what it's called. But like, you know, qul huwallahu ahad and like an-nas and all those surahs. I was just starting to memorize those. And I had never really like recited in front of people or anything. And I remember going to this woman's event. It was at the Fairlane Center in Dearborn. I used to go there all the time for Islamic lectures. And there was like this like intimate like girls event. It was like a circle and I don't even remember what it was called, but it was such a beautiful time. We all were going for I think it was Isha Salah and you know, I was still didn't know much. I remember we were all in prayer and then this lady came up and she like fixed my hijab because I guess like part of my neck was showing, which I didn't realize that that was a thing even until she corrected me. Like I didn't know we couldn't show like just like a piece of our neck while praying. I don't know. I don't know. That might be a hadith or something. I don't know. That's another thing for another time. But anyway, she like fixed my job, whatever. And then they did this thing where they were like, okay, whoever wants to, I think we were doing like a bunch of sunnah prayers. I don't know what was going on, but they were like, whoever wants to lead prayers, they can do it. And everyone who went was like super nervous. And I've noticed this almost every single time someone's like a woman is leading in prayer, they always are very shaky and nervous. Alhamdulillah, I'm not like that. Like I think that's a truly a gift that Allah gave me because I've always been like a singer and a performer since I was like little kid. Like since I was a little tiny kid, I've been on stages singing in musicals, solos, you know, in choir, praise band, concerts. Like I always had solos. I always was a singer. I was always on stage. I was always performing. Even as like a teenager and an adult, I was making music. I was in the studio. Like I'm used to this. So I feel like being able to transition like the haram, like your gifts that you used for haram into halal is so beautiful because me like and this isn't me bragging, like astaghfirullah. This is just me trying to like let you know this is one of my gifts, alhamdulillah. And of course there's people way with way better voices than me. Like I'm just decent, okay? But I don't have stage fright. So like I got up there and I remember I barely had them memorized, but I really wanted that experience and something told me like go recite, go lead the prayer. Like you just learned how to pray. Like this is your reward. And I felt so like amazing in that moment. But I remember getting up there and I recited, oh, I don't even remember what I recited. I think I just recited An-Nas or Surah Fala or Kul Hulahu Ahad, something like that. I remember telling everybody, I'm like, I don't speak Arabic. Like I'm not I'm not good, whatever. And then I got up there and after I led the salah, I turned around and like 20 people were crying. Like I brought 20 people to tears just with two surahs, just with two rakats. And that's when I knew like subhanallah, man, like I think this is like my gift. I think this is my purpose. Like the way that that makes me feel, like being able to invoke emotion in other sisters, like while reciting Quran, like I loved that and I thought that was so beautiful. And I love singing, like I love using my voice. I love it so much. I used to be really, really sad and I used to cry about this all the time and make dua like, Allah, please, like let me learn Arabic. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Like and I was so like, oh my gosh, I can't believe people know like Arabic. Like I can't believe they can speak that and then they don't use that to learn the Quran. Like I don't know what I would give to be able to just read the Quran like I read English. I would just make dua like, Allah, please make it easy to learn Arabic. And like I do, I know how to read and write Arabic, but I don't know what the words mean. That's the hard part. Like I can read the Quran very slowly, but I don't know what it means. And like that is literally my goal, is to just be able to read the Quran and truly understand it in its original language in Arabic. It's like something I'm so passionate about and I love. And that's a way that I can channel like my love of singing and music. Like I can channel that into loving reciting the Quran. And I wish I could have like a women only masjid. Like I know that's some like real feminist behavior. But like I would love to just like recite all day long. Like imagine being a hafiza. Like imagine you could literally just recite as long as you want. Subhanallah, I can't even imagine being able to do that. I would literally never shut up. Like what a gift, what a blessing. And I love it. Like the Quran is so beautiful, subhanallah. SubhanAllah. I need to have a Hafiza on here so I can interview them. Be like, how did you do it? How did you do it? Let me know. Let me know. I need to actually find someone who like English is their first language. I wonder if there's any Hafizas like that who like fully learned the Quran like as an adult, who's like not native Arabic speaker. If I didn't have kids, oh we that's a whole other video. Like I will talk about motherhood and like motherhood and Islam and stuff like that, because it's really hard to not have that time. Even with one kid, like I felt like I had all the time in the world. Like I could read books, I could go to lectures. Two kids and like having like a very young baby is really hard. You don't have a lot of free time to just sit and recite, and like you can't really focus and like lock in the way you want to. Anyway, y'all, that's a bit about backpedaling. I'm sorry, like half this video was so depressing. Like so depressing. Inshallah, Allah keeps us all on the Sirat al Mustaqim. And honestly, like Allah's mercy is so vast and so beautiful and so rich and so deep and so all encompassing. So like you could fall off the path and Allah could still put you back on. And also like don't ever judge a sister for going off the path of Islam, because you could end up right there with her. Like, you never know what's going to happen to you. You never know what test Allah has for you, but making it through those tests are crazy. But it's also like Allah does have a lot of wrath. Like when you know better and you have the knowledge, you can't really go backwards. You can't. Because then you know, Allah's punishment comes in, and Allah's punishment is not something to be taken lightly. And I don't think anyone will ever really understand that unless they've witnessed it and witnessed like Allah's harshness with punishment. And Allah delays punishment sometimes. Like it's up to Allah the way that He goes about His servants sinning and going against Him. But may Allah keep us all on the straight path. May Allah keep all of us strong in our Islam, in our deen. May Allah raise all of our iman. May Allah protect me, you, and all of the ummah from stumbling off the path of Islam and stumbling off the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Because it's truly a painful journey to backpedal in Islam. And I just pray that none of you ever have to witness that or go through that. So please learn from your sister. Please learn from your sister. Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah. But I love you girls. Thank you for coming along this ride with me. Sorry it was a little dark, a little spooky, a little sad. We actually have a couple like really deep deep topics coming up. We're going to be talking about eating disorders. We're going to be talking about motherhood. We're going to be talking about, I forget. See y'all in the next episode. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak. Mwah!